Hello, everyone. We're on a little bit early. I'm sorry I was late today. I apologize to my production crew. I think they're a little irritated with me. Kevin, you're the best. Daniel, thank you. Stephen, we only have about 15 minutes today, but that's okay because we're going to lead off. We are going live here. It's 4:46 Eastern Standard Time on September 12th, 2023. I am leading into our Burlington Democratic Reorg Caucus, which happens only once every 2 years, is happening tonight at 6:30. So 6:30 on Tuesday, September 12th. We are going to have the mayor there. We're gonna elect all our executive officers again. I am assistant treasurer and I will be running again. I'd also like to give a shout out to Adam Roof and Councilor Hannah King, who are chair and vice chair, respectively. And I, of course, will be voting for them. Again, it's open to the public. It's also virtual and online. If you go to burlingtondemocrats.com, you can watch virtually. Let me just catch my breath here. So, see, what's interesting about this telecast is that some folks will be watching this live, but the majority will be watching it taped. So, again, if you can come to the caucus, 6:30 tonight at Burlington Electric, which is 585 Pine Street, in the south end of Burlington, right on the bus line. I'll be riding my bicycle there. And so basically what reorganization is, every 2 years, the Democratic Party and all parties by law are required to reorganize. So it's something that is routine but interesting. It only happens once every 2 years, and it's just more lessons in democracy. Now, so this is the first time I'm trying to get my feet wet here. This is the first time I've been on for 2 months, and we decided, my executive producer and I, Jordan Mitchell, who I'd also like to say hello to, is that it would be easier to take a month off because politics in August is pretty quiet. Sometimes I'm on for up to 45 minutes, so it's hard to come up with interesting information. So we're going to shift, I guess. I'll come back to the caucus, but we're going to shift to the President of the United States, Joseph R. Biden Jr., our candidate for re-election. President Biden, there he is. President Biden was just at the G20 summit in India. He's also, I believe, yesterday or today is in Vietnam, in Hanoi. I'm so glad that he's gone to Hanoi, that awful, awful war that, he knows all about, his generation fought and died for, and millions of Vietnamese died for. And I'm glad the president's over there. Hope they're working on the landmine situation, which is something that also former Senator Leahy always worked on. That was his big, big bill. There are still tons of landmines in North and South Vietnam. This is also a problem that we're going to be fighting for generations and generations in the Ukraine. A really lethal, awful weapon, I'll tell you that. So the president obviously is a strong candidate for re-election. He and Vice President Kamala Harris will be on the ballot. They will be first round nominees. The only real opponent they have is Bobby Kennedy Jr., who is really out to lunch, and anti-vax, conspiracy theory. His father must be rolling over in his grave, and I know not one of his remaining, I think, 9 brothers and sisters are supporting him. So, even with a strong president like President Biden, you'll always get a challenge. And that's good, I guess. It keeps things interesting, keeps people on their toes. We don't know if Bobby Kennedy Jr. will be in the debates. It's probably not in President Biden's best interest to debate him, to be honest with you. But so what we've seen over the summer is we've seen the Republican candidates basically implode. Now, I love it. President Trump has been charged with more crimes including, unbelievably, a president of the United States charged for racketeering. The same crime, the same kind of charge that they use to get mobsters and cartels and murderers and horrible people. And that the President of the United States and a grand jury found that there's enough evidence to charge him. He tried, the race in Georgia was so incredibly close. 11,000 ballots. 11-3, I think, separated the candidates. And so, of course, there could be a recount. Of course, there could be some questionable stuff. That happens in any election. But that's what civil boards do, and go through and recount. I've done a couple recounts, 3 or 4 in my career. And it's a very interesting process. It takes a while, but it's thorough. And you have a bunch of impartial people. You throw the politics out the window and you count the ballots. But for example, people, and there's so few, have been charged with like ballot fraud, like a few ballots. They're getting 5 or 6 years in prison. It's a very, very serious charge. So he's in deep trouble. He's also charged in New York, civil and criminal cases. He's also charged for taking documents from his house and taking documents from the White House and storing them so inappropriately. And also, if news counts are to believe, that he's showing classified information to virtual strangers that he meeting at his golf club where he's trying to sell memberships. You got to remember with Trump, he's always hustling money. He has nowhere near the money he claims. Nowhere. I also think he could be indicted for income tax evasion, too. So, no matter the Trump apologist, I don't think in their mind they can, I'm trying to think of the right things to say. I don't think, this is all very much piled on, and there's several charges now. So only an insane person would say there's not something to these, because remember, these all went in front of a grand jury. So if there was meaningless charges, they would have been thrown out. Now, we understand politics. We understand that Hunter Biden is probably in deep trouble. It sounds like he might be, he's facing a pretty contentious court hearing. But to compare Hunter Biden with Donald Trump, which I hear sometimes the conservative press and radio and television do, is frankly ridiculous. We're talking about a president of the United States here. We're talking about the president's son. I wish Hunter the best. I worry sometimes about his sobriety. And, for someone who's grown up around that, and I haven't had a drink in about 25 years, so I feel for you, Hunter. Keep your head up. Stay out of trouble. Get out of your dad's hair, and let's not be a drain, because the Republicans are looking for any issue. Now, obviously, the president is 80. He'll be 81 in December. I think he's doing great. I think his stamina is strong. I think he's kind of broken the glass ceiling. And, I think his energy is really powerful. I think he might be one of the best presidents in my whole 60 years of life. And I was born in the last summer of John Kennedy's term in 1963. And then you have Bill Clinton and Barack Obama. Jimmy Carter, I wish him the best in hospice. He turns 99 October 1st. You're the man, Jimmy. You are the man, President Carter. But what the president inherited was awful and illegal and, frankly, treasonous. Previous administration. An epidemic that we hadn't had in 100 years since the Spanish flu, right after World War I. And also, in Afghanistan. We're not in Afghanistan anymore. I know it was rough getting out. Afghanistan, the whole thing with Afghanistan has been rough. The Taliban are obviously no friends of Americans, no friends of women, no friends of minorities, no friends of the handicapped, no friends of the LGBTQT. Why I'm talking about LGBTQT, Also want to give a shout out to everybody who marched in the parade on Sunday and organized and helped and cleaned up and made it happen. Pride weekend in Burlington is, it's amazing. So we see that the economy is coming around. We see that the system is working. We see we have a capable, honest president. He has an excellent cabinet. So I think things are looking great for President Biden. The convention will be August 19th through 22nd, 2024 in the beautiful Windy City, the Union City, Chicago. I hope to be there. I was a delegate for President Biden in 2020 and President Obama in 2012. So I'm a big fan of the DNC. It's a blast. If you can ever go to the convention, I heartily recommend it. Anyone can run. There's no guarantees. There are some spots that are selected for electeds or party officials. But with the help of Senator Sanders, the DNC has become much more equitable and open. So I have about 8 minutes. We have some things going in Vermont. We like to say hello to Senator Sanders. I believe that he is going to run for there he is. Burlington's own, man. Burlington's finest. Nobody like that guy. Senator Sanders, I want to thank you for all your good work and say hello to you and your family. Bernie has a big decision to make, whether he wants to run for re-election in the U.S. Senate. Now, my feeling is I'd like to see him run. I think he's still vital. I think he's still effective. He is the head of the American left in America, whether we like it or not, whether he likes it or not. He's the voice for a lot of people. And burn, baby, burn. So I would like to see him running again, and I think a vast majority of Vermonters would too. I don't think he would face any opposition on the Democratic side. He traditionally runs as an I and wins the Democratic primary. He's never been a Democrat. He caucuses with the Democrats. He votes with the Democrats, but he's always kept that I. So that's kind of his own thing. That goes back to the days of his days when he ran for mayor and ran and won in that famous election in 1981, where he won by 11 votes. Okay, I got 5 minutes. All right, thank you, Daniel. So he has to make a big decision. Now, probably the front runner, if Senator Sanders didn't run, would be our Congresswoman, Miss Becca Balint. I'm sure we have her picture too. Excellent, there you go. That looks like it's on the State House right there, okay? And I think that's Molly Gray right behind her. Becca has got herself on a bunch of great committees in Washington. She's an effective leader. Her years in the Vermont State Senate gave her a lot of training, just like they did for my friend, a guy I think the world of, Senator Peter Welch. We got to get him up there. Hey, there he is. That's my guy. So a year ago at this time, we were working on his election to the Senate. And it's something in the Senate, 6-year term. So Senator Welch and Margaret, his wife, I wish you the best. You got a great staff, wonderful people, both in Washington and in downtown Burlington, and they're there to help you. Let's go to my favorite telephone number here. Now, I always do my COVID wrap. COVID rates are up again. So if you have questions about COVID, you need to get vaccinated. Perhaps you don't have enough groceries in your house. Perhaps you're worried about your fuel bill coming up, your electric bill. Perhaps you'd like to get on the internet. Perhaps you need some job training. Perhaps you need drug or alcohol counseling. The number to call, there it is. Thank you, Kevin. 211. Now, I've been told this number hasn't been used enough. So it is toll-free through all 14 counties of Vermont. Addison, Bennington, Caledonia, Chittenden, Essex. I can go on and on. I can do it, but we don't have enough time. I have about 3 minutes, I think, looking on the time clock. So let's get back. So the big story locally tonight is the Burlington Democratic Caucus. If you're watching live, it's on Tuesday at 6:30 at 585 Pine Street. Thank you, Daniel. 585 Pine Street. in the south end of Burlington. Come one, come all. You can watch it online. I am going to be there in person. I am the assistant treasurer of the Democratic Party. I'm also a member of the state committee. After 10 years, I'm not running again for state committee. I think it's time to give someone else a chance. I'll be running for alternate. That's going to take place October 24th, our county meeting. So basically, it's a process of state, county, and then the whole state, which will happen in Montpelier. I have about 1 minute, something like that left. Okay, I can't see that sign. I'm sorry. 2 minutes. Okay, so again, 211 if you have any problems, questions about government, about policy, about trying to get any help for you or your family, your friends. If you would like to register to vote, you can give me a call. Here's my number. I'd like to put it up. There it is, 802-540-0717. So I have 2 minutes. It's a beautiful day in Burlington. We're going to get into an amazing political year in 24. I sure hope Senator Sanders runs. I think he's really top flight. I'm really pleased with our congressional delegation right now of Senator Welch, Congresswoman Ballant. It looks like to me that the governor of Vermont, who is a Republican, a moderate, supposedly the most popular governor in Vermont. I wish he was doing more. He has done a good job on the flood. I believe he will be running again. So that makes things tough for Democrats as far as governor. Our wonderful speaker, Jill Kowinski, will be running again. I think we're doing well. Let's all keep it together, everyone. Take care of each other. We'd like to thank you. I'd like to thank Town Meeting TV, which is your choice for town and county politics. And obviously, you know, we're only about 6 months away from town meeting, which will be a mayoral election. So no place like Town Meeting TV gives you the coverage. I'd like to thank Kevin, Stephen, Daniel, Jordan Mitchell, Megan O'Rourke. I'd like to thank Megan and congratulate her on her new job as the head and CEO of Town Meeting TV. I'd also like to thank Laura Glendavidian and everyone else here who's always helped and been so kind. We're coming to you from the Old North End in Burlington. Take care. The caucus is at 6:30 tonight, 585 Pine Street. Take care.